So actually, you know what we'll do? We'll just do this, and then we'll give everybody about a minute. We'll just kind of hang out here for a second, then I'll do my proper intro, and we'll cut it off. Which remind me, I need to cut off the beginnings of these. You know, where the minute where there's just a phrase. I keep forgetting to do that, and I can
especially on audio.
Yeah. But anyway, let's see if people come in. I got 4, so people are coming in. So we'll give everybody out there listening so far. We'll just give another 30 seconds or so to let everybody get in here before we do our big thing. We have a big announcement, exciting news. So let me. I'm going to tweet this out. You guys can. Oh no, that's not right. I want to do this. All right, share and X. All righty. Okay. Well, everyone, welcome on here. Are you ready? Let's do the intro. Are you ready for it, Combo?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Hey, sports fans. Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you on a Saturday. An interesting time where there was only one game tonight as of the finals of the in-season tournament featuring the Pacers and the Lakers. By the way, have you seen there's like controversy here about who the Lakers ended up having to play to get through to the tournament versus like the Pacers, for instance? Have you seen all that?
I haven't.
You know, it's worth maybe even calling up so I can get it right. I know they played the Pelicans last time, but let's go to the tournament bracket.
But the Pelicans were playing good until they weren't playing good. So
yeah, actually, the Lakers had to play the Suns, and they played the Pelicans. I feel like before that, though, there were a couple other games that were really easy for them versus the gauntlet that the Pacers had to run through: the Bucks, the Celtics, and more. Wait, why can't I see more of the bracket?
People think the fix is in, huh? With like the LeBron at the end of calling timeout when he didn't have the ball and all that stuff, right? There's like a narrative going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was interesting because I did the video on that. Everybody watched it. And, you know, I'm still kind of going back and forth. I know a lot of refs were weighing in saying that, like, they are allowed to sort of process that. Where, you know, it takes a second or two or three to get the whistle to blow after you see somebody and then you're looking and then, okay, call a timeout. And then you can say, well, in your brain, I recognize that, you know, it was quicker, but it was within like one frame before that ball squirts out. And, you know, it is what it is. But then that also then came up where they were talking about, well, they needed to have the Lakers because they didn't want to have just, you know, small market teams in the semifinals and whatever. But I don't know. It was a really tough call. And, you know, we've seen referees kind of do this where the ball had squirted out. They call the timeout and they say, no, it was before. Don't worry. You know, so we might have to sort of chalk it up to that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it looks a little fugazi.
All right. Okay. Listen to you. All right.
But I don't think there was any grand conspiracy or anything, though. I think they just messed up. But it didn't look like the Lakers had the basketball.
Okay. Right. It's right. You know, now they and by the way, the reasoning then was in that 3 frames, but while they said they could call it, it was like pinned against his shin with his left arm while he was being, you know, massively attacked by 2 players. It was all a little bit weird, but okay. So what up above the waves? How good to see you. And what up, Buzzer Beater? So Buzzer Beater wants to know what time we usually go. So we usually go on Mondays in the morning. What time we usually go? 10 o'clock?
We usually go at 1 p.m. New York time, 10 a.m. West Coast time.
Yeah. So, and it's a good time. People seem to, you know, and do that. We got a pretty decent crowd for that time. So I think we're going to stick to that as much as we can. But we also wanted to talk about a really exciting thing, which is, although let's see, Kevin James is asking, I remember you saying Jamal Murray was a top 3 guard a while ago. You know, it's all about what have you done for me lately, right? So it's whoever's the scoop du jour. And that's why Haliburton is right now.
Scoop du jour.
You know, we forget about, you know, Jamal has just came back again, right? He was playing the other day and he looked pretty good, but he doesn't look like the top 3 guard yet, I don't think, at least what I saw in that game. So, you know, I think we got to hold off a little bit. I got really excited. The Haliburton thing, he's really young, but he's really just the way he's approaching these games and the way he scans and his passing. I'm willing to say he's a top 3 guard right now anyway. But we got to let's let Jamal Murray kind of get his, you know, the Nuggets figure some things out, get settled in. And then I'll see if I can put him back up there. But SGA is a real problem because he needs to be up there. Luka is not a guard, is he? I don't know what we call Luka. What is he?
Dual forward.
All right. Yeah. Point forward. I don't know. It's really, that's the other problem is what is a guard anymore anyway? Ball handler, the main ball handler. Maybe that's the role, you know?
I mean, I feel like the positions is just so mixed up because there was a point in the NBA about 5-6 years ago where you just give your best player the ball. It kind of started with like Luka and Giannis and other big players that just happened to handle the basketball, and they started to initiate offense. And that's where like the heliocentric facet of basketball kind of started out, right? Like just give your best player the ball and we build around that. But now it's becoming more read and react, a la like Warriors and Kings and Heat.
Yeah. Asaden Young wants to say that we should go later when people get off of school and work at like 5 p.m. Eastern. I mean, the problem is the games. Oh, actually, the games don't start until after that. That we always worried about going up against the games, and so that's why we kind of try and do it earlier. So I don't know. I mean, listen, we're busy people. I don't know if 5 p.m. Eastern works for you, Combo. I mean, we could try a little bit later if you wanted to, but hey, maybe I'll do a poll. Should I figure out how to do another poll? Maybe I'll do that. But we have to get to the exciting announcement we have. All right. Or I don't know what it's an announcement. It's something. So here's the thing. Yes. Sports Aptitude. He wants to know. Through some weird confluence of events and some weird stuff, all of a sudden I find myself coaching the Masters Maccabi team in Buenos Aires in the end of this month. Okay. So that happens in like a couple of weeks. Like maybe on a plane, I'm going to go coach the guys who are older in that game. And Combo happens to be eligible for this team if he wants to play. And also, I want to be able to sort of figure out how to handle this because the flights are really, really expensive. So we're trying to do a GoFundMe, and I have the link in the description. Maybe I'll put it in the comments too. But we really could use your help. Anything could help us to try and raise enough money to try and get down there, especially for Combo, because it is a really expensive plane ticket, and it's last minute, and it's really difficult. And he's got a family, I've got a family, so we're kind of doing this, to try and help this thing move along because they whatever happened, they need these people, they need us to help them. So if you could help us at all, and by the way, here's the thing: I'm gonna be down there for 10 days, so I'm already getting in line some really cool content. Stuff where I can go meet with a lot of other coaches who are down there. And if you're in Argentina or know anybody in Argentina who's a coach at any level, I don't care. I'll go and visit and we'll film the stuff. We'll put them on my channel. We'll make some really cool content because I want to go to Argentina and sample the basketball fair. I want to see, just like Anthony Bourdain used to go to the different countries and taste the different food. I want to go taste the different basketball and the food. We could really use your help. So it's a really exciting thing. The link is in the description. I'm going to put it in the thing right here in the comments too, so you can see it. But what do you think, Combo?
I think if we could get out there, I might actually play some defense.
Ooh. So again, think about that. Okay. Combo and I have been doing this for a long time now. You know us, and we've talked basketball for a long time. You might not know Combo was a pro. He played pro basketball in Europe. In Europe, I guess in Israel, where'd you play?
Denmark and Israel. Yep.
Denmark and Israel. So, we really need him, right? Because right now there's only like 6 or 7 guys in the team. A few guys dropped out for whatever reason. So it would be like a ringer bringing Combo in there to actually to run the show. So we really need him. It would really help. So anything you guys could do, really appreciate it. Even just like click over there and look at it. Just give us some page views or something for SEO. I don't know. But that would really, really help us. But I'm excited because again, we're going to film a whole ton of stuff out there, and I think it'd be really cool stuff just to kind of, see me coaching, see Combo playing, getting out there and around, and plus it'd be great to have you around, Combo, and hang out with me.
Yeah, it's always great. It's always great hanging out with you. We've done it virtual about 99.5% of the time, except the time you came out to New York and we visited the bodega and did a live show from Combo's Court Studios. Absolutely,
which is a great show. You should see that if you can, independent of the angle we have of Combo and his body. Combo is tall. He is tall and he's got long legs. So
Manscaped could have sponsored that one.
They absolutely could have, and they should have. Hopefully, you are using their products. So, all right. So we have what we're going to talk about today.
The game coming up.
Video. Yes.
Oh yeah, the video. That's good.
The video about Haliburton. I don't know. We could talk about that for a minute. I don't even know if I went as in depth as I wanted to go. Like there was all the things I'm going to do on the shooting form. That said, I did do a bunch of him on the 3-point contest from last year anyway, where I should have leave the link to that. Maybe I'll drop it as a card right now when we're done. But what do you make of that? What are your thoughts on his form and how he's able to be so elite on his percentage?
I think that his form was never an issue, in my opinion, because he always creates enough space to get it off. Can he get a shot off when other players can? Maybe not, but he's such a great passer. He's a 3-level scorer. and he could shoot it from unique and awkward angles, and it makes him so effective. It was a guy that I really was high on at Iowa State, and he's kind of like, it's coming to fruition about everything I thought he could be, because he's one of those guys that makes everybody around him better, right? And if it's the first thing you could do is make everybody around you better, it opens up your own game. It opens up your own shot, even though the shot might be a little bit funky. But also, like, he kind of does what the European players do. It's like they play with a unique cadence, a little bit different than other American players. And I think that gives him an advantage as well. And also on top of that, I feel like his game fits the zeitgeist. He's like the modern NBA player. Great passer, 3-level scorer, could get it off quick. And he's not really like an ISO guy. I think we're moving away from that in the modern NBA. He doesn't post up. He doesn't take tough twos. He's a very analytical player, and I feel like he fits the modern NBA to a T. So when we see like these crazy things happen, like Steph Curry, right, and the Warriors, it's not only that they're great, but there's like a certain moment in time that fits what they do so well.
Oh, that's a really great way to put it. And, you know, he's shooting at like Steph Curry levels right now, the MVP Curry levels. A ton of threes, off the dribble threes all over the place. He does do a little bit of catch and shoot, but and they do get him off the ball a little bit like Curry in those moments. I do like how I think it's the most favorite part of his game that I like is how he scans the floor constantly. He really is trying to pass. And that makes you harder to guard because you have to consider that while you're guarding him with the ball, that he will throw the ball, and you got to deal with that as well as a component of, okay, is he going to shoot it on me? Plus, because it's so sort of arrhythmic, I guess would be the term we'd use. And I showed like it's basically a 2-motion shot because the ball gets to the set point a lot earlier than what the ideal would be. And as a result, for him to generate power that way, it's not really from the rhythm and the dip and the legs extending. It's more the arm. He has to use more arm. And so there's a right to left motion on the release, which usually makes me really nervous. But then there's a left thumb influence, which is vital to kind of keep it back on that line because otherwise it would go to the left a lot. So he's figured that out, and he can pick up that shot at any moment and still be successful. So what I mean by that is, if he were to start the shot here and then go up and up, or if he starts it down here and goes up and out, or if he starts the whole thing with dip and the shot, at any moment when he picks that shot up, he can get to the set point and release pretty consistently. And that's what throws everybody off because he doesn't need to do any of the typical pre-motion into the shot. And he can get it off, for a 2-motion shot, he can get it off pretty damn quick. Plus, as we had Caitlin on the show on the actual thing, you have to watch it. She's amazing with her analysis. And she called it beautifully how the rejection of ball screens is a really important thing that we don't often teach enough, probably. And his rejection for him on those crossovers ends up being such a devastating move, either for threes or his own or getting to the basket. So his game is terrific. Modern game, yes. Floater game is elite. 3-point shooting is elite. Passing is elite. Love it. And I think that they try and maybe hide him on defense a little bit just to kind of save his energy. But I think he could be a plus defender.
Yeah, I mean, in college, he had a great deflection rate. That was part of the reasons why sub GMs loved him. Like, he's active. He has great feel on both sides. It's kind of like the Jokic thing. Not an elite defender, but super smart. And, he could get handsy and make the right plays, the right risks at times when he wants to.
Do you mean Jokic or do you mean
No, I mean Jokic, because like Jokic is not an elite defender, but he's very smart and he has good feel on defense. I think Haliburton, it's a little bit Olay, but he does have great timing when it comes to deflections and things of that sort, which he showed more in college than even in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to think Doncic instead of Jokic, but that's the same idea. Like, this Doncic is smarts. He knows offense so well. He can predict where to be and have some decent hands and be like a normal defender. He's not necessarily a plus, but he's not a minus. And then his offense is so good that it doesn't matter. And it's like that Pete Maravich thing. Pete Maravich would go out and score 38 points, and they call him a bad defender. Well, his man scored 12. So that's a very net positive, you know what I mean? In terms of that's how I would look at it when I had a guy that good on offense, where it's like, are we getting a net positive, and is it a significant net positive? Then let's go, let's play.
Speaking about modern player, I mean, Pistol Pete would have been great in this era, like 3-level score, either hand, floaters, any type of shot you want with range. I mean, his game would have fit tremendously in the modern NBA.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So just a pleasure to watch. And, the people were like, well, SGA is better. And I'm like, man, I actually probably would have been a really good video to compare them both. It would have made it even twice as long. But I think SGA deserves a video at some point because, he is a very similar guy. Doesn't shoot enough. I mean, let me just check his stats this year. I almost feel like I don't want to be.
I feel like I feel like what makes Tyrese better than SGA is the same reason what makes Jokic better than Embiid, in the sense that they have this ability to make everybody around them better at an elite level. And I think even when you're not the greatest defender, if you know how to put people in the right spots, it not only gives them energy on offense, but it gives them energy on defense as well. It has a residual effect on the whole team, because sharing always leads to sharing on both sides of the floor.
Absolutely. And, listen, he's doubling up SGA on assists per game. It's not really, Shea's game isn't necessarily a facilitator as much as Haliburton is, right? Like they played kind of a little bit different roles, or different styles, however you want to say it. So it's almost like it's not easy to compare those two in theory, because SGA tends to be a little bit more of like the destination for the ball, right? Versus where Haliburton just is the beginning in a lot of
the hub.
Yeah, and is Haliburton better than Fox? Good question, Kevin James. I mean, like, Fox is great, man. You know what I mean? He really is terrific. And that trade ends up being terrific for both teams, right? In a really, really rare instance where, normally somebody wins a trade. But the way that Sabonis fits into that high post offense of theirs is so good, and he's been so good for them that, and they already had Fox, right? So they wouldn't have worked, I don't think, with Fox and Haliburton anyway. So, it was great to be able to see Haliburton get to a destination, slowly take the team over, right, and figure out. I think he was a lot more deferential last year, and now that he's figured it out and they have a whole training camp, it's like this is really just a pleasure to see.
Yeah. It's just been fantastic. And this mid-season tournament has been a total success. I know Adam Silver must be really happy about it, because it gives a chance for a star like Tyrese Haliburton to emerge in playoff type situations. We wouldn't have had this moment with Tyrese if we didn't have the mid-season tournament.
Right. Although here we are with the Pacers as a surprise, doing very nicely. Who knows? This might propel them for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? Like, they might get some sort of sense of satisfaction or confidence or rhythm or whatever out of this. Let's just say they beat the Lakers in an hour. If that happens, then imagine, maybe they rip off 10 wins in a row, right? And all of a sudden they're third in the conference, second in the conference, right? And they're starting to feel themselves. So that might be the result of these in-season tournaments. And it'd be really, really exciting to see. So that might be part of the residual thing there, where that they ultimately will realize, oh, this was actually a beneficial thing for the team to go through that, be tested. Because a lot of times we'll say a young team like that, they need to go through the playoffs first for a year, kind of waste that year, get their feet wet, learn what it's about, right? And then the next year, well, who knows? Maybe their feet are getting wet right now.
Acceleration of development. That's interesting. I would like to ask you this, Coach Jake. Do you believe they could legitimately beat a Celtics or the Bucks in a 7-game series in full health, all teams included?
Now, here's the thing. Am I completely sold on the Celtics? Nah, not really. Not yet. They got to convince me a little bit more. And I really, really like the Pacers team. I mean, Nesmith has gotten so much better from last year. I don't know if you've seen this, but like, he's just so much more aggressive and so much more like just finishing around the rim and just being like a fearless. Really, I'm trying to find out who works with him, because I want to know how that development happened from last year. I didn't think I saw it last year like this. He's a different player this year. Mathurin, you've talked about him since he got in the league. Like, he's just a scorer. You know what I mean? And obviously, it's not the offense; it's the problem. They have an all-time high offensive rating, higher than anything we've ever seen before. And who knows? They'll probably finish with that because they're like 4 or 5 points higher than the next one from last year as the record. So, they have so many weapons; it's insane. I mean, that's just 2 guys coming off the bench right now. They had to put Hield back in the starting lineup because the starters weren't doing that well. Honestly, the net rating wasn't great, but with Hield in along the starters, then they was really doing well. So I think that they're just a few lineup tinkerings away from really figuring out how to optimize this team. That might end up being the issue. They just got to find the right 5 guys to play and getting that rhythm there with the lineups and the substitutions. That might be all they need to do then to get them into that top 3 of the Eastern Conference.
So do you believe, even though the numbers say that they're the greatest offense ever, does that actually mean that they're the greatest offense ever? Because I feel like the numbers are somewhat juiced with the way they play basketball. Like, there's not many post-ups. There's not many tough twos. They're playing to the analytics. Can we really say it's better offense than Prime Warriors or a Michael Jordan Bulls team or even a Suns team that lost to the Michael Jordan Bulls.
Well, the offensive rating takes into consideration like pace, at least. So they don't get a benefit from going up and down faster than anybody else, right? It's trying to measure that per 100 possessions, so everyone's even. And you're right. Does offensive rating mean best offense of all time, right? It's the most efficient offense of all time. I think then you're right but then we have to get into aesthetics. Is it like the prettiest offense, or is when the Warriors?
Well, that's taste. That's taste, right? If you say prettiest.
I mean, it probably is taste, right? Because they had high post entries and backdoor cuts and then handoffs and all that stuff. And, which, by the way, the Pacers get as well. Or is it just like cold-blooded buckets? You know what I mean? Like that's all that matters. You're right. We got to be careful how we parse all those things. And so right now it's like, as far as the efficiency goes, I mean, that's what it's telling us. And it's also telling us that they're going to be probably the hardest team to stop. Like that I'll go as far as saying, I think. And it's because, I mean, I'm forgetting right now. Let me go through the whole roster here because I'm telling you the scores they have on this team. And then, by the way, and when it's powered by Haliburton, who is really trying to scan the floor and trying to set everybody up as well at the same time. But, you're talking about like Bruce Brown, a really solid, good offensive player. And by the way, a good defender. Miles Turner, terrific defender, terrific shot blocker. Buddy Hield, elite of the elite three-point shooting, although he's not elite this year yet. He's just a terrific shooter. Obi Toppin, also a plus defender. So they have defenders. Matherin's not much a defender, but just a cold-blooded scorer. Neesmith is now that guy. Nembhard is contributing nicely off the bench as a good, third or fourth guard. And then we go from there. TJ McConnell is good. Isaiah Jackson is solid. They have a good team. They're the youngest team in the league, so they have some time. But I'm talking myself into some greater things for them, and maybe it'll be because of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely accelerated their development. And shouts to Rick Carlisle for embracing the modern style of basketball. Being an older coach, it's pretty impressive. And as you stated last time we had a live show, I think Luka was a guy that even though they might not have gotten along, he kind of taught him how to play modern basketball, right? Not Luka teaching him per se, but he learned a lot from that experience. And I think it's helped his situation with Tyrese Haliburton and the Pacers.
Right. And I think one part of the key there was not calling offensive sets every time down. I think he realized early in Luka's career that was to stymie him. And as a result, they had the number one offense for that year and then a couple of years after that, or up there. And because I know for sure that he would I think the players were grading against that. They couldn't handle having to have to look back at the bench every possession to figure out what he wanted to call. Rondo certainly didn't handle that well, and they got they got into a big argument. But let's do Module Cell gives us a super sticker. Thank you so much, Module Cell. I don't know. I guess there's no question associated with that, but thank you so much for that. That really helps us. And by the way, don't forget, if you came in late, we announced that we did a GoFundMe. You'll see the link in the description and then up above in the comments. Both Combo and I are trying to get down to Buenos Aires this at the end of the month to play in the Maccabi games. And it's just really expensive. The tickets are expensive. It's all last minute because of things that the roster fluctuation that we're trying to help them really. And we're hoping that you can help us help them and do a nice thing for to do something. And we'll also have a lot of content out of that. We're going to film all the stuff we're down there. We're going to film a lot of cool basketball stuff. And I know you guys want to see how do they develop basketball down in South America and Argentina. How did Manu develop? Right. So maybe Manu will be down there. We got to find Manu. Maybe that'll be part of Manu. That'll be one of the series that we create down there, a series of small videos looking for Manu and if we can find him. We have Bron here with a super chat. Let's see what Bron says. Thank you. Best friend of the breakdown. Bron is always there from us from Canada. Thank you. We really appreciate it. One thing that stands out about SGA for me, especially from last night's game, he's not just a good defender, but he's a really good on that end. So he's a good defender.
He's not only good, he's really good, is what Bron is saying.
He's not just a good defender. He's a really good defender. He's long. He's really quick laterally, right? So, there's no reason why. Now, obviously, when you have to do that much work on the offensive end, they try and sort of pace themselves on the defensive end, which totally makes sense to me. So we may not be able to see him do it all the time. But without question, I guess, so we want to say SGA is a better defender than Haliburton?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got to do a deeper dive. I really want to look at that and see. Haliburton doesn't come up on my radar when I'm looking at their footage as a negative defensively. I don't know if he's coming up as a positive in my mind's eye, but I certainly don't see him. Because here's the thing: I go through a lot of footage and I'll look at isolate just the buckets against the Pacers, for instance. Now I haven't done this with the Pacers. I was doing the other side because I was studying his offense. But so I'll do that, and after a while, you start to realize like there's a pattern here. Like that guy keeps breaking down. It keeps causing the issue that then leads to the bucket, right? And then you keep adding that up in your head, and then you go back and then you study that guy and then you realize. So I'm looking. I'll have to figure out who that target would be on the Pacers. But when you look at who they have on their roster, they have good defenders. So there is no reason why they're 28th or whatever. Let me look real quick where they are. They were 20 something in defensive rating. It should be higher. But that's again the lineup stuff where they have to just figure out who the best people are to play with whom. And I think that will, shore it up. The Pacers right now are ranked 28th in defensive rating. It's just not good enough for, to be a good team. They have to get better than that if they really want to make a run beyond the first round of the playoffs.
So Carmelo Anthony said nobody busted his ass in his 20-year career. Did you see that on Twitter?
Nobody scored on him a lot when he was a defender out there.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't even think that it's a shot at Carmelo with what I'm saying. It's like in basketball, if you play for that long, somebody's going to end up getting the best of you, I think.
I mean, what? Did anybody ever cross him and he fell down and they nailed the three in his face? I don't know.
But that's not busting your ass. Like busting your ass is just, in my opinion, like just getting the best of you while you're playing defense and that player is playing offense.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be a video for you.
Right. Because what part of that, and we'll get to buzzer beaters question in 1 second, is, you get tagged by, some sort of, label, right? And then it's hard to get rid of that label. That's frustrating. So, somebody probably at some point had said, Carmelo and, a negative defender or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think again, I think he was fine. I'm trying to remember now, even the Denver days, if I can search my data banks to figure out what he was like on that end. But I think he was probably fine. He didn't play defense in college. And so I know that a lot of the Syracuse people get really frustrated because they don't really have a lot of man-to-man reps under their belt to get to the NBA. Yeah. But, I think, I don't know. Maybe he's right. He never got his ass busted, I suppose is the term. So but let's get to buzzer beaters question. So thank you, buzzer beater. Really, really appreciate it. And then what is this? He's got, what is that? Can you see what that says? I can't read it. My eyes are not good. Jackson, something, Tucker, Strickland. All right. I don't know. It looks like a very cool whatever logo he's got for YouTube. But here's a buzzer beater asks, when should a defender leak out for a fast break? What does it mean for a defender to show hands when guarding someone driving to the basket? These are good questions. Combo.
When you're playing pickup and you're like up 19-10, you should not have all your defenders playing defense because just leak out and win the game.
Wow.
Or just stay on the other side of the court. It also works with the Elam ending.
Yes. Now, here's the funny thing is when I was coaching high school, early on, there was a team in our league that would beat everybody. And you're down by 20 by the third quarter. So we actually discussed that. Why don't we just keep somebody under our own basket, force them to play 4-on-4 just to see if we could do it? Because otherwise it was what else can we do? They had, 5 D1 players in their team and never had the guts to do that. But so the best time for the defender to leak out is probably on a contest of a 3 as you fly by, and then you just keep going because at least you're, contributing to the defensive end to try and do the contest and make the guy miss, and then just take advantage of your, your positioning. Now, if you're playing my chase defense, then 2 players are almost always ready to leak out anyway. So that's built in, by the way, which is another one of those great benefits of playing the chase, which is when you play behind the ball. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing runouts. It's pretty cool. So hopefully we'll get some footage in soon from all the teams. There could be 50 teams right now running it across the world. So I'm waiting for the footage to come back. So I think the best time would be on a contest of a 3 when you keep going. That's in my mind the best way. Now, what does it mean for a defender to show hands? So the guy's driving, you're turning and running alongside, trying to keep in front, trying to ride him out of the lane. And they want your hands literally to be, up, like they can see them. Either you're reaching or they're in front of you, so that you're causing, some impairment of their vision, that kind of thing, versus just sort of down and running with them or by your waist, which is not the worst technique. If I'm running and my hands are doing this to try and stay, at some point as I get into the space, I need to rotate my upper body toward the ball handler, so my upper body's square to the ball handler, while my feet are still running in the direction they need to go. And so that's the equivalent in my mind of showing your hands, like showing your chest more. But those two things kind of mean the same thing to me. Do you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, no, I think that sounds about right. I think that sums it up. Yeah. I just think like to leak out. I used to leak out a lot actually. And when you want to dunk, you leak out. That's what I used to do.
Oh, okay. How does it feel to dunk?
Feels great, especially dunking on somebody.
Oh, you dunked on somebody?
Oh, a lot. Yeah, a lot.
A lot. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I dunked once off of like one of those. You had to jump off of the things, the plank thing, like a diving board thing to get into in the air high enough. Way back in the day, I could dunk a tennis ball at my height, but I could never do a ball. And I often wondered, I mean, I guess I know what it's like because when they lowered the rim to 9 feet or whatever, I would do it. But man, it would be nice to know what it's like to be on the 10-footer.
Yeah. Sometimes it when you could dunk on people, sometimes it distracts you from making the right play because you want, especially when you're younger, because you want to dunk on somebody so bad, you use the wrong finish option. You probably should have just laid it up, but you're trying to get that dunk.
Yeah. I remember my best friend in my team in high school, hadn't gotten a dunk yet. He was like 6'6". He didn't even dunk that easily. He didn't jump that well, but he had one. I remember he traveled trying to get his feet set to to do it.
Yeah.
And that was really a bummer. Now, Buddy Hield, let's just go look at this because somebody in the comments was saying that when they start Buddy Hield, the Pacers defense suffers. Well, this is a little bit of a noisy stat, but when you go to the NBA stats, there's an on-off court summary, which means it'll give you a net rating of what the team is doing when you're on the court versus off the court, and they'll separate it in offense and defense. So again, it is noisy because it's really a lot of it's depending on who else you're playing with. But here's the bottom line. When Buddy Hield is on the court, the team's defensive rating is 116.8. And when he goes to the bench, it's 119.6. So it's 2.8 points per 100 possessions worse defensively when he's on the bench, which means that they are better defensively when he's out there. And yet what will persist for some reason is that, Buddy Hield's not a good defender, right? Now, the argument could very well be, well, if he was a better defender, then that would be even a bigger gap. But I don't care. Having a positive differential in favor of you defensively is fine with me. Plus, on offense, they're 5.2 points better. So his overall differential net rating is plus 8.1. So there's no question you need to start him. I think that's the answer there. He's second on the team. And basically, he's first on the team with the regular minutes. He's even better than Tyrese Haliburton's effect on the game when they're in. Tyrese Haliburton is plus 7.8. And in fact, Haliburton, when he's on the court, they're worse defensively by almost 5 points per 100 possessions. So again, it's really noisy, but that shows you that maybe it's Haliburton who's more of a problem defensively than Hield.
Don't we have to see, first of all, if Haliburton is playing against better lineups, and second of all, who's playing with Buddy Hield in those minutes? Maybe there's bench players that specifically are just better on defense.
That's exactly why it's really, really noisy. And it's exactly why the NBA coaches probably need to be looking at lineup data even more. I sense from listening to their comments a lot that they don't quite look at it deeply enough, because I feel like there are times when certain players will struggle because they're constantly being put alongside somebody else that's not compatible to them, but they don't see it. They don't understand it. They don't know. And they don't optimize. And so, I bet you can wring a little bit more out of your teams if you can just optimize your lineups better. And so either way, though, if you have if you're leading the team in that differential in your net rating, then, that's someone who should be playing more than anything else, probably should be starting. So, yeah, but it is dependent on like who you're playing alongside and what the other team has got out there. It's really noisy. But again, there are some baselines here we can look at, and that would be one of them, would be, just looking at what is the overall impact you have on that net rating. So, now, by the way, I've seen those net ratings where like a guy like DeAndre Jordan at his height, the team was better when he was on the bench defensively, right, per defensive rating stats. And that's obviously ridiculous because, he was their best defender. Like when he's out there, they're a better defensive team, right? Like you couldn't back in the day. And yet you would see that a lot. And part of that had to be with, he would go out and when the second strings are in, right? And so now the second string of the other team isn't as good scoring, so they don't score as much. It just kind of feels like the second string is better defensively when it's really just because he's a starter and he has to go and deal with the other team starters. So I think that also addresses your point, right?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's just noisy. So we have to see who that player is playing with. I mean, the sample size is sometimes smaller with other players,
Yeah.
When you're like if you only played 38 minutes the whole season, and you're comparing it to somebody who starts every game. You know, it's like, I mean,
Well,
I know Buddy plays more than that, but I'm just saying, like, all that stuff matters.
well, I mean, like Jarace Walker leads the team in overall net rating differential, but he's played 41 minutes. So
Exactly.
I ignored him, so that's why I said Buddy's number one. But it goes Buddy, Tyrese, Bruce Brown. But I mean, again, if you look at these players, some of these guys are really solid defenders. So in my mind, there's no question that they got to figure this out. Daniel Tice is a very solid defender. Wait a minute, is this?
Daniel Tice plays for the Clippers.
Oh, they traded him. God, I just saw him and I remembered. You're right. Sorry, I was just looking at him and he's on his list. I was like, wait, he's only played 8 minutes. That's because they traded him, right? Or they cut him, they traded whatever they did. Forgive me, but yeah, but like TJ McConnell is a pest, man. He's a defender who really can make plays. I think Neesmith can play defense. He was playing some defense against KD, if I'm not mistaken. In my mind's eye, I could see really causing problems. So I think, yeah, again, it's just a matter of time to figure out, okay, what are the Neesmith minutes? What are the Mather minutes? What are those? How can we balance these out and get these optimized? And I'm telling you, that 28th rating will get to at least the 15s around there. And if they have a number one offense and, the 15s, then that means they can get to the second round, easy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about this lately. Elite offense at good enough defense is a lot better than elite defense at good enough offense. So
okay.
Pacers, they're things are trending in the right direction, and now it's just all about how can we get that defense up to average, and then they'll be pretty dangerous.
Right. I mean, again, average is going to cut it to go to the conference finals or the finals, but it's certainly you can get into the second round. That's why I try and label it there. But just so you know, we were asking about Buzzer Beater. His profile pick was the Bomb Squad, the New York Knicks. I lived through that era. I don't remember them being called the Bomb Squad.
Not at all, but I remember some of those players, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, Rod Strickland's
the first two are New York legends, so obviously I remember them, but
yeah. Well, by the way, Strickland's a DePaul legend. I grew up down the street from DePaul, and he was so amazing there in college, and he had a really good team. Which for a while there in the '80s, the DePaul was like really, really good. They had Mark Aguirre, they had Dave Corzine, Rod Strickland, and then Mark Jackson. I remember Mark Jackson wins Rookie of the Year, and they go ahead and draft Rod Strickland. That was weird, and that probably didn't help morale. And then Trent Tucker was lights out. Gerald Wilkins was
Dominique's brother.
Yeah, but he deserves his own tout. He was a really good athlete and a good player, very similar to his brother. And then Johnny Newman, by the way, was a really good player. Like didn't get a lot of respect. I guess John Starks is right after that, but Johnny Newman was a good player, good small forward, smooth. Could defend, could hit a shot. Was good.
Yeah.
You don't remember Johnny Newman?
I remember the other four. I don't remember Johnny Newman too much.
Yeah. Well, listen. Oh, Dallas Comegys, great call on the and Ray Meyer was the coach who was the original coach for George Mikan. So the Mikan drills apparently, I believe, were developed by Ray Meyer. He came and spoke at our high school. I mean, he was old by then, but yeah, those are legends. And I listen. I used to play at Alumni Hall, in the summers against some of those guys.
Who was better, Harvey or Horace Grant?
Well, I guess you could say Harvey was a better scorer, and then Horace was better at everything else.
Yeah, I feel like what Horace puts over the top on Harvey is that, first of all, he got all those chips, right? He got 3 of them?
Well, he got 3 with the Bulls, and then
Orlando, he cooked the Bulls, right?
Well, he got one with the Lakers, and he did cook the Bulls, but they didn't. Oh, they won the series, but lost the finals that year.
Yeah.
To the Rockets.
His resume is obviously better, but Harvey was a bucket.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Horace might have been the overall better player, believe it or not. Horace was a little older. I mean, they were twins, but like he comes in a year earlier, if you remember. Harvey stayed at Oklahoma for another year. Although Horace didn't played at Auburn. No, oh my God, how do I not remember?
I don't know that.
Harvey Grant played on, I believe, I want to say Oklahoma, unless I'm way off. And that was a great team. They were one of the first modern teams that ran the floor and shot threes all over the place. It was crazy.
Okay.
But how did Harvey and Horace come up in the middle of this conversation?
Dominique, the brothers.
Oh, okay. Now I see that. Okay, good. Yeah. Forgive me for not really, whatever. And by the way, Rick Pitino coached the Knicks. You're right, the Bomb Squad. Interesting. I mean, listen,
the current coach of St. John's, believe it or not.
Yeah, right. And by the way, I'm connected that way, very tangentially, because I was the manager at Wisconsin under Stu Jackson, and Stu Jackson was Rick Pitino's right-hand man for a number of years.
Billy Donovan and Rick also have a big connection, right?
Who?
Billy Donovan and Rick have some kind of connection, right? What's that?
I mean, some kind of connection. Donovan played for him.
That's right. That's right. There you go.
It
All
was-
right. All right. I remember reading like the Rick Pitino book years ago. I just don't remember. I know like in the off seasons they used to play one-on-one.
Yeah, Billy Donovan in college was like,
Great. He was great.
yeah, he was like probably like
Trae Young.
who?
Trae Young.
I don't think he passed that well, but he was like
Okay.
junior.
Oh, okay.
A little bit junior in college, kind of
Right,
like.
right,
I mean, he was just a bucket. By the way, he could get to the basket too. He was probably Donovan's probably like what 6 feet, 6'1" tops.
He was tough. He was tough as nails, right?
Yeah, just tough, but he could just play. And I think it wasn't like, oh, he's a good college guy or whatever. I know he didn't play really well in the NBA, didn't really get much of a shot, but he was just really just tough and could just fill it up. It was crazy. And he led them all the way to the Final Four with like, a team that did not have a lot of talent. So that was Pitino's big coming out party. And Stu Jackson was the assistant then. And then and Billy Donovan. And remember, Billy doesn't probably get to where he is now, although I'm sure he might not be really happy to be where he is today, but he doesn't get there without that run to the Final Four. All right, Martin Jose has a question for us. Blazers got to move Matisse Thybulle and Jeremy Grant. Both are good defenders and contribute to any playoff team that needs defense. I mean, you're right. The Blazers clearly are not in it to win it, right? And so, I mean, by the way, I don't know if he's at the top of the list. It's probably Brogdon on the top of the list to trade, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, Thybulle could probably help the Pacers.
Ooh, because they could take a little bit of a drop on the offense and because Thybulle, I mean, he's the finest defender. I haven't even seen it. Can I admit something to you? I haven't seen the Blazers play this year.
Yeah, they're struggling, and Scoot's struggling too.
Yeah, you know what I have to watch next? I think is the Pistons.
Oh, they're bad.
It's bad like morale, right? It's the whole thing. I mean, I just saw somebody talking about what the buyout is for Monty Williams, as if like they're already. I mean, he just got there, and they're talking about maybe it's not going to work out for him. It's just crazy. But listen, whoever his agent is deserves an award because the deal he gets, even if he's not coaching anymore, is the kind of money that he gets go on.
Yeah, I mean, Monty made his money like in the bubble it started, right? Like they went undefeated, and then they had like this run to the finals, right?
Yeah.
So that's what helped him get to where he was. Like it's not what you do after the contract, it's what you do before that gets you the contract.
Yeah, that's right. Well, hey, good for him. So but you're right. Thybulle and Grant are also absolutely pieces. And so people are drooling right now, these good teams that are looking for like a little bit more. So the Pacers for sure might want to, here's the question. Do you do like Mathurin for Jeremy Grant, like something like that?
Jeremy Grant really has to change the way he plays to fit in with the Pacers. Like his role would be totally different.
I think so, but I feel like when he fit in, when he got a big chance
in Denver, in Denver,
that would fit with what they're kind of trying to do. But I'm not even sure Jeremy Grant is enough of an upgrade defensively. If
Jeremy Grant could be Denver Nuggets, Jeremy Grant, I mean, I think the Pacers are dangerous. It's just like it's hard to go back to what you were because muscle memory is so built in. Like we see that with I'm not saying Jeremy Grant's like James Harden, but we just see like it would be hard for James Harden to revert back to OKC James Harden now,
Probably right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But like, because their thing with Jeremy Grant would be like he got into a really good team and then he kind of blossomed, right? So he could be the best version of him when he's alongside really good players versus where he might have been earlier in his career, which didn't. So it's and by the way, you're right. He did convince me in that playoff run that he could really defend. So I suppose he could be that guy. And then Thybulle, I'm just kind of curious, has he completely? Because shooting was starting to perk up a little bit. I mean, he's so wide open, right? They don't guard him out there. But he's at 41% this year. He's at 38% last year. So there's another one of those things where you say
Tybulle's at 41% from three.
Yeah. Now here's my prediction though. If you go look at them, they're all catch and shoot. They're probably mostly in the corner and they're probably wide open because they're helping way off of him. Which is fine, right? It's still making them.
I mean, what's his volume?
Well, he's playing real quick. He's taking 3.8 a game in 23 minutes. He's taking a lot. Like,
oh my god,
36 that
guy's perfect for the Pacers.
Yeah, he's at almost 6 attempts per game per 36, which is like a really solid thing. So he's taking them, he's making them. And
the Blazers might not want to give him up at this point.
Oh, right, maybe right.
He's not old,
Yeah. And so shout out to Tommy, my buddy, Biomechanics. I think he's given Thibault some shooting advice last year. So it looks like it's translating into some really positive stuff. So, all right. Well, thank you, Martin Jose, always there for us. I really, really appreciate it. We have Melting into Air. Oh my goodness, so generous. Thank you so much. And that's a really cool thing you have there on your YouTube icon. Anyway, the question here is: can the Pacers trade a package like Mathurin, Walker, and a pick for OG?
OG would be very nice for them.
OG would fit in really well with them.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, what does OG merit? Does he merit Mathurin, Walker, and then I'm assuming he needs a first round pick? That's a lot. That's a haul. Is that what OG is worth?
It depends on if you believe they're legit title contenders this year. Because you're leveraging your future. You don't want to leverage your future if you have no shot at a title. I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we don't know about Walker just yet, but Mathurin.
Walker, first of all, I think Walker is good. I saw him play in Summer League. I mean, that guy is a two-way player. He plays the right way. He has an NBA body already. Like, I think he's going to be pretty good.
So I don't know, man. Okay, I think here's what the calculation has to be: is can they who's the best team in the East right now? Is there an opening?
Bucks Celtics.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's an opening there? Like are they invincible, or is there an opening?
I don't see this current Pacers team beating those teams healthy in a 7-game series. But maybe with OG that could change if they could integrate them in the right way.
Well, to beat the Bucks, what do they need? They need someone to guard Giannis, right?
Are we a little bit prisoner of the moment right now? Like, I mean, I love like Haliburton. I love the Pacers, but they beat the Bucks in a 1-game elimination. Like that's different than 7-game series, you know?
It is. Okay. So in a 7-game series, you need to have somebody physical enough to guard Giannis. That Kawhi Leonard kind of guy who can handle that as quick, as big, as got big hands, all that stuff. So who would that be? Do they have anybody right now? Like, you have to say Turner.
Here's the problem with the Pacers defense in a 7-game series versus the Bucks is that they play analytic basketball on both sides of the floor. They don't let you shoot threes, but they leave the paint wide open. And I think over the course of a 7-game series, no matter who's on the roster, Giannis is going to end up killing you.
I guess, but that's if you're going to beat them, you got to be able to have somebody that can guard him and on occasion keep him out of the lane and be enough of a force where he can't just barrel down and score all the time. So, but by the way, is Toppin that guy?
Toppin, what guy for what?
To be the guy to be able to guard.
Hell no. Hell no.
So
Toppin's defense is not good.
Other than Turner. It's got to be Turner. I got to look at. You know what? I got to go watch that footage again to remember exactly who they.
Turner got a chance because I feel like there's a world where Turner could make him shoot. You know,
right? Who was guarding? Was it Neesmith? Was Neesmith guarding him? Now that I'm thinking about it, I was watching the game.
Obi Toppin is one of the most unique athletes because he's super athletic in a straight line and jumping wise, but he can't move laterally.
Somebody tell me who the Pacers were guarding Giannis with in the game and they won. Without me, I can look it up real quick, but I'm blanking now on that matchup, and obviously that needs to be the one you're looking at when you're talking about who's going to beat the Bucks. I guess I can call it up real quick while we're talking. Where are the Bucks? Here it is. All right, let me just do. I'll hit Giannis's minutes, and then I'll quickly look at this. We'll see who is guarding. Let's just start. Anybody? Let's see. Anyone going to beat me as I fire up my synergy here? All right. But anyway, so let's get back to the OG thing. Is OG worth it? Like probably, but again, I think you're right. Are they going to do that and give a pick away and Mathurin, which is their future, and you think Walker as well? It would probably be because they have a chance to really get past those teams. So here's the footage. Did anybody beat me to it?
Up-and-coming star Tyrese Haliburton.
Turner,
so
yeah. So here, let's see. The first Turner was guarding Lopez, so it was Toppin. So Toppin was guarding, and he's the primary guy that they went with. Listen, they didn't stop him, right? He had 37 points in that game. So it's not like, and they still won that game. But
they're not winning a series if Toppin is guarding Giannis the majority of the minutes.
Unless you want to do let him shut everybody else down, let him get his eats, and then put him on the line.
That's what they do generally. They don't let you shoot threes.
Right. Now they won. Will Giannis go 9 from 11 from the free throw line again? Probably not. So that's the thing is you have as many fouls as you can get against Giannis down the stretch. You'd want to keep and send guys out there, put them on the line. I don't know. So the question, would OG do it? that's the other question on the other side. Is OG the guy that gets them, to that next level versus like Siakam or something like that? Like, could they get Siakam?
Siakam don't. I mean, you're going to have to change the way you play offense if you want to get the best version of Siakam.
All right, because I like him going up. I got to look at some of the head-to-head footage, but physically, I think I like him against Giannis. I think
he has to revert back to Toronto with Kawhi, Siakam, just like I said Jeremy Grant does, because he likes to play a lot of ISO right now, and that's just not the way the Pacers play basketball.
No, that's true. All right. Well, melting into air is a really good question. You kind of fried our brains on that one, but I think okay, if we gun to our head, we had to answer that question. Okay, do you take that deal if you're Indiana?
No.
Yeah, I think I'd be patient. I'd be patient a little bit longer. I'd be willing to let him get their feet wet, see what happens with Mather in there, and then and who knows with Jarace if he can continue to develop. Okay, so that's our answer. Let's see. We have another one. Braun is back. Oh my goodness, Braun, thank you so much. There was a article about how the Pacers defense could be based on allowing more twos if it means scoring more threes. They've attempted 253 more threes than its opponents this season. The Pacers defense could be based on allowing more twos if it means scoring. Okay, so obviously they're reading all my tweets or they're obviously seeing the same thing I have. And I told you this over and over again, right? What the stats are when you make, let's say, 4 or more threes than the other team. So last year, the winning percentage of the teams that did that, I think, was 74.9%. Okay, so you're basically almost guaranteeing a win if you score 4 or more threes than the other team. So how do you do that? Yeah, make sure they take less threes and you get yours up, right? Now here's the question. I'm curious, what are the Pacers shooting? What's their let me go to the shot dashboard. What's their 3-point frequency? I looked this up and I'm forgetting now. Let's see. The Pacers are, top 10 in 3-point frequency. I think they're 10th. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9th. They're 9th. 41% of their total shots are threes. Okay. So that's pretty good, but it's almost like if you really were going to embrace that, you should be at 50% threes. You know what I mean? Really. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I just said that. I think that's what they're doing. I when I said Giannis is going to get his buckets because they're not allowing threes.
Right.
The lane is wide open. Yeah, that is how they're. I mean, that's not like anybody's article. Like it's the eye test. Watch them play. I mean. Shouts to the Ringer. I love the Ringer, but I mean, that's like obvious. I don't even think like you have to look at the numbers to see that.
Right. But that said, like, I mean, I don't understand what it means allowing more twos, right? I mean, obviously, if you're running teams off the 3-point line, that means more than
he's basically saying they're playing the numbers game. They're going to allow you to score the twos and beat you at the math game.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, obviously the goal here, like the defense I demanded with Chase is get them to shoot mid-range shots, preferably with a hand up. It's always. Not the worst thing if you don't get a hand up. I want a hand up in
always. I like what I play 1-on-1 3 dribbles. That's always the goal. Like keep them in front and get a hand up for contested twos.
Yeah, that's all you can do. And then don't get down. They hit a few. That's okay. Stay with the program and take the emotion out of it and just continue your energy and execute that. In the long run, you'll come out ahead. And that's the thing about, you could go up against a team. It could be in the playoffs. It could be a one and done, like, it's a 7th game or whatever. If the other team gets really hot, it almost doesn't matter. Like you can't stop them. They're hitting these threes. So what is your answer to that? Well, that means you got to hit some threes, right? You cannot be that team that's like, well, we don't shoot them really well. We don't shoot a lot of them, yada, yada. No, you're going to have to open it up to try and keep pace so that you're within 3 or 4 makes of the other team, or else you are going to get run out of the floor no matter what you do. So if you don't have that in your arsenal, then you're not going to be a winning team. Now let's look at the bottom here of frequency of 3-point percentage, because the way bottom, is the Pistons at 33.8%, right? Which is like, I think high school teams should be at least 40%, all of them. The Hornets, the Magic. Now the Magic, I think, are probably pretty good in offensive rating. Let's look here. The Magic are... See, like how strong is this correlation? They're 16th. They're actually a little bit lower than average on offensive rating, and they don't take hardly any threes. So that's interesting. The Lakers are next. They're 30-29. They're 27th, and the Lakers in 3-point frequency, and they are. Oh my goodness, they're 22nd in offensive rating. So I'm seeing a bit of a strong correlation here in terms of the less threes you take in terms of frequency and the worse offense you are. Right, that makes a lot of sense. And then ultimately that's going to be a problem. The Nuggets, by the way, don't take a lot of threes at all. They're next.
By the way, the Lakers don't make a lot of threes, and they're doing great right now.
Yeah, that is true. So I guess if I look at their defense, is what's going to be so good, huh? 30.
I mean, just LeBron is so good. That's what's happening.
Well, Denver, by the way, is 26
Yeah.
point frequency.
And, I mean, AD's defense and how good LeBron is a huge reason.
Right.
You know?
And now Denver's offense is ranked 9th, which I think might be low for them over the
Well, yeah, Jamal Murray hasn't been there, you know.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, and I think that's dragging them down a little bit. And then New Orleans Pelicans,
and Bruce Brown unlocked something for a lot of teams. Like he unlocked stuff for the Nets, he unlocked stuff for the Denver. And he's not there this year, so. And Jamal Murray,
Pelicans are 18th in offensive rating, and they're 25th or 24th in 3-point frequency. So it seems pretty compelling to me. Where's OKC? Let's get to the last one. OKC is ranked 8th. So you got 8th and 9th in there in the bottom 20 of 3-point frequency, and they're 8th and 9th in the offensive rating. So, it's not a completely strong correlation, but to me, there's something there that also, if you want to do it just in wins, you know what I mean? I should probably ignore offensive rating and look at wins, because again, you're going to have a hard time winning in this league if you are going to get outscored by 4 or more threes every game. So thank you, Ron, for that great question. Really, that was a lot of mind juice having to use to comprehend all that. But let's see here. Well, what do you say, Combo? Let's talk one more time about this trip to Buenos Aires, because we could really use your help. I have to go coach the team in this Maccabi Pan Am Games in Buenos Aires at the end of this month. It's all happening in the last, whatever. And the plane tickets are so expensive. We're trying to do a GoFundMe. If you guys could help us at all to help us get down there. And Combo, we want him to play, so we want to help him get down there. That would really help us. We'll be tweeting it out too if you're on Twitter to follow us, and you get the link there. But it's in the description. And then I'll also be filming as much as I can. Whatever levels I can get into, whatever practices. I want to see how they train basketball players, and I want to find out how they train Manu, how Manu got to be Manu. That's going to be our mantra. How Manu became Manu. And hopefully he'll be there. We'll find him, we'll interview him, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. One of the best lefties to ever play.
Right. Hey, Combo, you're in that list, right?
Yes, of course. You're reading my mind. We've been doing this so long, you're reading my mind. How did you do that?
Absolutely. You lefties need to stick together. So maybe you can use your lefty senses to contact him and figure out how to get him.
Contact Manu and hit the GoFundMe.
Right. And if anybody's out there in Buenos Aires, hit me up. Let me know. Email me, coach@ballbreakdown.com. And let me know if you're down there and you're connected to the basketball community. I'm trying to just connect with as many coaches as I can. I got some leads, but I would like some more. So anyway, we're really excited about that. So please, if you can, visit the GoFundMe and help us out. And I don't know. I think that's a pretty good show. It's a great show, Coach Nick. And we'll see everybody on Monday. Yeah, we'll be back on Monday. So don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel. We're a conversation. You in?